Abstract brainwaves, game genie in the beanie. We ain't on the same stage, leveled up. The epitome of technique, can't survive in my current thought.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. Out here in the bog gardens, and it is hot, but the research is swift. It's pretty cool, pun intended. So what we've got here is just a Go Rocket, battle royale, if you will. You've got to defeat all these grunts to get mysterious components. They're doing you a favor by giving you 2 of those pieces in one battle. So you get through all those, you can get some of these legendaries, the original 3, and then eventually you get to challenge Giovanni, who I'm imagining has some really good Pokemon. And if you're watching this, you probably already know who they are by the time this goes up. But I'm on that last step, so what you're seeing is me actually capturing one of these birds. I'll speak a little bit more to it later on when I'm at the house and go into everything that's happened. But so far, it's kind of like how yesterday was. So this is kind of me speaking on both days, as you hear a dog panting in the background. No shinies, like just, 6 of them for me? Some people who haven't been playing in a while have 14 or more, but most of us, it's like, is it the area or is it they just despawn the shiny rate? It's not looking pretty. But still getting good Pokemon. Still plenty of time. I'm not sure if my auto catcher is influencing the rate at all, if any are running away from me. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so we just got the last shiny here. And auto catcher is not even on. Look at that. So that's for good or for worse. Here we go. Now we've got the last piece that I'm recording. Got my Super Rocket Radar. Hint, hint. And so I will follow back up with you with more and show you everything that happens when it's over. Okay, so it's been a couple days. I thought this would be a shorter video, but looking through my backlog of video clips, it may not be, but I don't think it'll be long as part 1. So, as you saw in the title, I was out at Bicentennial. Not in the title, but in the beginning clip. I was out at Bicentennial for day 2, and it was very fun. Now, this video, as promised, I'm going to talk about some things that I said I would bring up last video. First and foremost, day 2 was Team Go Rocket, and what I enjoyed as I'm pulling up the clip now. He goes, by the look on your face, I'm sure I missed all that. This is me just speed tapping again. But this is Professor telling us pretty much he's impressed by the energy and all this other stuff, and you can already see it's just littered with Team Go Rocket stuff. Take a snapshot, power up a Pokemon 3 times, send 3 gifts to friends. It wasn't buggy today to send 3 gifts to friends, but here it is. Unfortunately, unlike the day 1, which had just 3 sets for the welcome, this didn't end with just these 3 things here. So let's look into this more. So here I'm still rocking with Tauros here. I did get Tauros to best buddy status, and I've now switched to a new Pokemon. Here we've got Sammy in the background here, and the Rotom is still a thing. That's very neat. I forgot about that day 1 to get all 5. I think I might have gotten 3 or 4. Can't really remember. But they're all the same type anyway. It's still the same washing machine looking one. There isn't a variety this go around. Maybe we'll see Rotom at the next Go Fest. Maybe we'll see him sooner than that. The other forms, that is. So let's see. I don't think I had any of them run from me. So, pretty straightforward. Met up with some people who I actually saw the first day who decided to accompany a little group that I had going. But they brought back Dialga, both Giratina forms. So that was pretty neat, and Palkia. So those are the 4. Some people who may have quit playing or missed out on those, they got a chance to do those on this day. So previous video I mentioned, hey, I had 6 shinies for the day, I believe. And I ended up getting 5 more, so let's get that out of the way. I ended up getting, what else did I get? I finally hatched the unknown. Or maybe I didn't hatch it like I thought. I think I Go Plus'd it. Or my gotcha got it. I got the unknown shiny with the G. And I did hatch this one, a shiny Absol. So something from last Go Fest I ended up getting. That was the shiny Absol that a bunch of other people got and I didn't get. They had the shiny Horsey that people were looking for. Cool thing is, as of this recording, they've got a Horsey Spotlight Hour. So there's a chance for me to get a shiny. Except, half hour ago before making this video, your boy got the shiny Horsey. So it's all come full circle. It might take me a year to get some of these shinies, like I told you. I'll always get, for the most part, the legendary shinies, because I do a whole bunch of those. We were looking at some of the Rayquaza, and boy, I've done over 100 Rayquaza raids. Caught 77, 20-something ran. The Quillfish here, I was looking for, did not get that. But I did trade my shiny Bulbasaur with the hat for it. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, that's more rare than the Quillfish. But I honestly don't care about the Bulbasaur with the Pikachu hat. It does nothing for me. I can't power it up. Or I can power it up, excuse me. I can't evolve it. So that is just a trophy. And until, like I keep complaining, they sync that Pokemon Home functionality with Pokemon Go, just don't get me started on that still. But that needs to happen. Niantic, Pokemon Company, whoever's task that is, you got to get that rolling. But this was really fun, short and sweet. I think we got it done in 2 hours. I allotted myself 2 hours because I had a company who's not into Pokemon and just wanted to go ahead and focus on shinies thereafter once, this Team Go Rocket stuff was out of the way. Now, what was really great about the Team Go Rocket one is you got 2 mysterious components for every 1 grunt you beat. Normally, you'd only get 1, so you would need 18 mysterious components just to have finished all 3 of the grunt leaders, the Go Rocket leaders. Instead, you only needed half of that. So, everybody was good there. I could have stretched that out. They could have made it more difficult to find. No, you saw my screen. Multiple Sierras, multiple cliffs, And, you just do a couple laps around that garden area. That's all she wrote. So, in total, I believe I got 11 or 12 shinies. I think it's 11 shinies that I got for both days. And compared to the previous community day, that's pretty low. So let's get into it because I avoided talking about it for a little while. And by a little while, I mean, what is this, like a week now? A week and a couple days? Because I didn't want to be in my feelings. The old saying, don't burn any bridges you don't know you have. Well, a lot of people are unhappy with this community day. I could say that. To me, personally, it didn't feel community day with this Go Fest. Because it kind of felt like it wasn't a Go Fest, which is why I had the Freudian slip there and said community day. Normally when you go to Go Fest, you expect every, 1 in 10 Pokemon is going to be shiny, I would say. At least that's how it felt last year. That doesn't mean everybody's going to get 1 in 10 that's going to be shiny, but a majority of people, when they leave for just that 1 hour day, expect to have 20 or 30 shinies. You know what I'm saying? So to get 11 or 12 in 2 days, where you're playing, some people playing from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. both days. So, yeah. I won't say it was a disappointment for reasons I'll share in a second, but it did not meet my expectations. I will say that. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that my expectations were what I just said. You know, multiple shinies, and it seemed like a lot of people with me, one shiny per hour. And we're like, is it our area? Is the game bugged out? What's going on? Now, Saturday it was, and we are getting a makeup day the following weekend, August 16th. So stay tuned for that. Maybe they up the shiny rate. Maybe they just leave it like it was. I had shinies in my eggs, and people were telling me that, hey, if you got shinies in your eggs that you haven't hatched, sometimes that affects the algorithm where you don't get shinies. I don't know if that's true. I may have said that last video, but I'm saying it again because it bears repeating. So I acknowledge all that to say this. I still had a great time. I was with friends who make the game anyway. This game, since it's come out, has been a social experiment more so than a game. Now Niantic has connected the dots, crossed the T's, and all that. You didn't have raids, right? That's what a lot of people enjoy doing. You didn't have PvP. You didn't have these, weekly bonuses and tasks for the week. You didn't have any of that. It was just grind, lucky egg, mass evolve Pidgeys and Weedles and whatever, and just build levels. Now the levels has been, hey, most people are at 40 now. Now they got to move the carrot further. So we'll get up to level 50, and that should detail some, or that should involve some more, stuff besides just the constant grind. I don't know anybody who's really focused on lucky eggs after level 40 anyway. You get so much experience from raids. You get so much experience from just opening gifts. All that stuff. Again, was not present in the beginning of the game when a lot of us, started day one. That being said, this was a great experience for you if this was your day one. If this was your first Go Fest, this was probably a blast because you had nothing to compare it to. So many people around the world who wouldn't have otherwise come to Chicago, I imagine this wouldn't be a disappointment for them unless they saw these videos of everybody else's experiences from years prior and thought, wow, this should be like that. And then it was like, it wasn't. Then you would understand where I'm coming from there. I feel like, and Brendan Ton said this in his video, maybe Niantic looked at it from a vantage point of, let's not give everyone shinies and dilute the rarity of Pokemon. Valid point. I can see that. I can see where they're like, if everyone just gets mass shinies, it just makes the game less interesting, maybe. But come on, one per hour, they could have. And there should have been a variety of Pokemon, the water, fire, and grass. Yes, there's a lot of those, but we could have had some fighting in there. And I'm not saying they didn't show up. Obviously, I got the shiny Meditite, but Meditite being psychic and fighting was just a little weird to show up, period. But they all have their biomes, right? So, can't really complain knowing that, number one, I was with friends and had fun. I think my video stopped here some way, somehow. It did. I was trying to showcase this Dialga here that I had encountered, and it just went off screen. It did. He's like, I'm impressed with your energy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not trying to see all that again. But hopefully it's still rolling like it should be in the video, and I imagine it will be. Okay, so here's the dial. I'm back at that raid. Ignore what I'm saying right now. I'm just getting through the actual battle itself, because I believe I was at the capture screen. I just want to get back there first. Yeah, so here we go. Right back where I was, for me anyway. But yeah, as I stretch here, maybe they were trying to stretch their goals. Maybe they were trying to say, hey, we'll throw Durant in there because most people around the world can't get that, and that'll be your exclusive like Pachirisu was last year. And not only that, we'll make it shiny because some of you probably already have Durant because you did the Genesect research, which included him, and that was still, for me, for my money, what was it, like $8 or something like that, $8 or $9? That was the best experience ever because with the Genesect you had all these other different Pokemon that were out there that you could get shiny in addition to getting Genesect at the very end. And this was right before COVID was even happening, if I remember correctly. I believe Genesect was earlier in the year. I'll have to look back and fact check myself. But I believe Genesect was earlier in the year, if not the end of last year. But I believe it was this year. But when that was unlocked, a lot of people were like, okay, I did the research. Genesect should be showing up as an EX raid boss. And it never happened because the EX stuff went away. Well, I've got news for you. Right now, I mentioned the horsey stuff going on. That's still within the week, which is going to end soon for this Dragon Week. Dino, I've been saying Dino or whatever, but it's Dino, like dinosaur, because it's looks like a dinosaur or whatever. It can be shiny. A lot of dragon Pokemon are out, so you do have some Dratini everywhere, and I'm hoping to get some more shiny Dratini, but it hasn't happened yet. Not pressed for it since I have it, but always accepting of more. But they're everywhere. So now's an opportunity to max out your Dragonite. Rayquaza is back in raids. Some of you have already got the nice shiny black, yellow, and red Rayquaza, myself included. Somebody call DJ Khaled and tell him another one. Your boy got one of them. I was excited for that. Not as excited as the very first one, but hey, it's trade fodder for somebody who needs it, right? And, as many Rayquazas as I've caught, and, I'm deleting a lot of them too. I think I have maybe 22 of them left, which some of you are like, you have that many? They're all good, though. 2 hundos, 3 or 4 shinies. They're all 3-star at least, so eventually I'll have to go through and call the list, but for now, they'll stay. They're glass cannons, but Dragon is always good against Dragon, and you had Outrage and all these other different moves. Rayquaza's one of the GOATs. So, that said, I don't think I'd get tired of Rayquaza just coming back. Right now, it's not coming back as often as Kyogre or Groudon or some of them, but until they start doing that, then I'm okay with it. But once this week ends, then it's going to move into another week that's going to have other featured Pokemon. So we've unlocked all 3 of those tiers that were requests of all of us trainers during GoFest. So I'm looking forward to that next week as well. And eventually we'll get Shiny Staryu. We'll get Shiny Genesect even in one of these weeks. I believe they might be even the same week. So we got the Horsey Spotlight Hour Tuesday, which is tomorrow. We also have Magikarp Community Day, and believe you me, that felt like it came by fast. One thing that some of my viewers pointed out to me was, we're looking at what's spawning right now, and it could just be a coincidence. I don't know if it has to do with anything. But people are like, hey, during the Dragon Week, we've got some Pokemon that aren't Dragon types that are popping up. And it all has to deal with the Mega Evolution. Maybe that, and this is all conspiracy, so I got my tin yellow hat on now. You can't see it, but it's there. My tinfoil yellow hat. My conspiracy guy hat. What is it? Should it be this way, conspiracy guy? I don't know. But I digress. The Mega Evolutions are coming, and what better way than to start with the very first one to set you up for the Mega Evolutions whenever they drop. Here we are, August. That leaves, 4 more months left of the year. So they're probably working on that coding right now to get the Mega Evolutions ready. They gave you Ghastly last month, and here we go with Magikarp, both of which can get Mega Evolutions. So I'm assuming those Mega Stones or Gems or whatever, they'll start putting those in, maybe a PvP prize, or they do it where, kind of like the Unova and Sinnoh Stones, they have you get those during your weekly 7-day streak and all that. Who knows how they'll do it? But what we do know is that they won't be permanent. It'll just be per battle, and that'll be it. So I may have said this before, so apologize, but maybe the raid bosses use the Mega Stones too, and you'll encounter Mega Charizards, Mega Pikachus, and all that jazz. That could be interesting too. But I look forward to all of that, and the more the merrier for any of the Mega types. The Mega Pinsir is going to be awesome. Going to be awesome. But at least for me. Somebody might be like, well, it's not going to be that great in battle. Fine. But I'm just talking aesthetics here. Battle-wise, that Mega Mewtwo X and Y is going to be interesting. I'm interested in figuring out how they're going to do that, and if they have their forms ready. Could you do that to an Armored Mewtwo? Could it Mega Evolve? My guess is no, but hey, maybe. I would love to see the shiny form, shiny Mega Gengar. So, and I'll probably say this again when it gets closer to time, everything I said just now. So this is past me, present me, that will be in the past, apologizing to future me and future viewers. So let's move on and let's get back into this. So you got all the grunts out of the way. It was very quick. Bam, 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 bam. It almost makes you forget that Victini was the prize here. Me, myself, personally, I was like, this is going to be underwhelming. Who's the prize for this go-round? Now, there was fanfare building up to Celebi. There was fanfare even for Mew, just because that was the first, mythical that we could get in the game. But it was like, this is the last one of the, 150 that they're allowing you to get. No, missing no doesn't count. Sorry. Missing number doesn't count. Count numbers. See what I did there? Anyway, Celebi had its fanfare. That gave you the AR. We had to turn the AR on and capture it. I think you did it for Mew too, but Celebi was cool because you could take nice little forest pictures and what have you and capture that. So, cool. Jirachi was awesome. They had all the musical instruments. They actually did a lot of work on that story to connect that. Certain Pokemon that they had, they all thought long and hard about, hey, this one is going to appear here, and this one, and this one, and this one. They're all going to play music. Spoilers if you haven't caught Jirachi yet. But they do a little song and dance for you right as you're catching Jirachi. And I remember it to this day because they kicked me out of the park during GoFest last year as I was catching Jirachi. Cops saying, get out, get out. And I'm just flicking balls on the screen trying to catch that thing. But still trying to get this Zangoose. It does not look promising. I don't know what the screen is showing that I'm trying to catch, but after restarting what I was looking at, it wasn't one of the shinies. It looks cool in red or blue. It's one of those, hey, maybe the red is male and the blue is female. I don't really see much of an interesting distinction between the Zangoose when it's only the red part of it that changes to blue when shiny. But, I'm not knocking it. That could be somebody's favorite shiny. Who knows? Unknowns are still everywhere, so in addition to the Durant being shiny, it's like, hey, everybody should have a chance to have gotten this by now. Unknown, a lot of people still were looking for, and it would have been boring for, many of us who, drove miles upon miles to get one or went to trade one. It's like same old, same old. But the shiny. The shiny is something different, and you may not have that. And I think a lot of people did manage to get that at least. You may have not gotten the Quillfish. You may have not gotten the Executor. That was another one that I got. I think that was maybe the last one I got before I was hatching eggs. And that might have been my one that I got early in the morning at the park. Everybody was like, oh, I got the Tangela. Oh, I got this. Oh, I got that. And I was just like, man, still nothing. And right as I was just by myself, playing somewhere, finally happened. Boom, shiny Executor, my one shiny for the day at that time. And I couldn't have been happier to at least get one. Now later on, I got the ones I told you I got. But it wasn't the same as tapping on something and catching. I think the rest of them, I ended up hatching and, my gotcha got them. So there might have been one more that I'm omitting that I just can't remember that I also got at the time. But if I think of it while I'm rambling or looking at the footage here, I'll let you guys know. So, what else do we have going on here? I did start culling the friend list. Last video I made that announcement. I know some of you were like, oh, who cares? But some of you were like, yay, there's room for me. And some of you still don't get it. You're still saying, hey, invite me, not realizing that it's you, the viewer. If you don't let me know that you're viewing, I don't know that you're watching to know that I'm going to add you. Again, nothing personal. I'm just doing this for the fans. I'm at a point where I feel like I'm not giving you guys enough of me other than the videos. So, for the Pokemon that a lot of you are here for, I'm not really here for the other stuff. That's the least I could do. So I did call the list some. Some of you have added, and it's great to, build up the friendship and, still earn experience because, believe you me, every year there's some event saying, add a new friend. And I'm like, yo, I'm maxed out. Now I got to pick between one of my faithful, subscribers or whoever and remove them. But it's a lot easier knowing that, hey, the friendship doesn't go away just because you remove a friend. You discover them again later. You send the codes again later. If somebody else stops playing, boom, we're friends again. Pick up where we left off. But what I'm getting at more importantly than that is this. Let's say with 200 friends being the max, I got up to ultra friends, or best friends, with everybody. I don't get experience off of that anymore. Now, I can become lucky friends with a whole bunch of you. But how cool is it that, hey, I remove people that are no longer playing, who I already built up that XP with, and then new blood comes in, and we do that whole thing over, and I'm still earning experience, and that helps me, it helps you get to level 50 when that time is near. So that's kind of how I'm choosing to look at it. And I hope you consider that too. So here we go. I've got this Pokemon here. I'm not sure what you're going to see, but for me it's this Shadow Bulbasaur. A lot of Shadow Pokemon. Now, you had Victini. They didn't give you any real fanfare. So I was a little underwhelmed with that. It was like Victini was shoehorned in there. And I was mistaken at first, like, oh, Victini's the next generation. No, Victini is the very first Pokemon, Pokedex-wise, of this generation. So I skipped him and went to all these others. But hey, now Victini's out the way. In my Pokedex, Victini's a very powerful Pokemon. I like Victini. I really like Victini, especially in Pokemon Shuffle. Being a psychic type, it's good against some of these fighting type Pokemon, so I look forward to using it in battle. And, with the 20 Victini candy I've got, I really should go ahead and appraise mine and beef it up, maybe even max it out. I should actually do that, if not just outright make it my buddy. I haven't seen too many people use Victini as their buddy, maybe because they didn't get good ones, or they just aren't a fan of how it looks in Pokemon Go. Who knows? Let me know why. Let me know your thoughts. Did you get a good Victini? Did you get it perfect? All that remains to be seen. So, we've got this week pretty much done with the dragon stuff. I got my shiny Horsey. I got my shiny Rayquaza. Didn't get the shiny Dino, but, you know, more dinos is nothing to complain about either. There's still some Gibbles popping up. I'm enjoying that. I would like to get a shiny Gibble, but again, not complaining about regular Gibbles popping up and either. One request I have though is if you have that shiny Heatmore and we're friends, or you want to be friends, because clearly you would know that by watching this video, let's work some trade out. I need a shiny Heatmore. Not seeing too many Heatmores pop up anymore after the event's over, but, you know, maybe next week something changes based on the theme. Alright, so moving along, here's a Marowak here on my screen. And I've always said this, that Alolan Marowak, just the tint of its complexion just makes it look like it's a shiny. Tell me that's not a shiny. You look at shiny Gengar, and it doesn't look shiny at all. It just looks the same, pretty much. Like, you know, you ever have a iPhone and Android next to each other and see, like, the difference in the coloration, depending on the generation. That wasn't alliteration, but it's Captain Sensation. I'm leaving that in. I'm not cutting it out, sorry. Anyway, so what am I getting at? It doesn't look shiny, so neither did this Pokemon. I'm still looking for it, though. I still do these Alolan Marowak raids for that reason. So, just like the Heatmore, I think if you've got one of those too, an extra one, shoot me a message and let's work up a trade for that too, because I would love to have one of those. Okay, so where are we at here? I think this clip here showing what I was doing is almost at its end. I wanted to see if the Executor was still in here. Probably not, though. It was crazy in the park. You know, you had a lot of people there, a lot who were playing Pokemon, some who didn't understand. They were trying to get me to play other games, geocaching and stuff like that. Nobody talking about that Harry Potter, though. Where did you Harry Potter guys go? I know it wasn't community day for y'all, but I know some of y'all were playing Pogo first before switching over. Let me know how things are going in that game. Obviously, I haven't messed with it in some time. But the Niantic Social shows me those of you who are still messing with it, and vice versa. But yeah, you had people walking ferrets in the park. That was weird. Had a dog that I was walking, and he looked at the ferret and the owner like, what? They're playing Pokemon, which I think is weird, because I'm sure that's what the dogs think when we walk them playing Pokemon. You walking the ferret, that's crazy. And the ferret looked terrified, believe you me. It looked like a Pokemon just on its own, the way it was just sitting around trying to, you know, blend into the surroundings. But yeah, the raids were very quick. They actually nerfed all of the Go Rocket guys. So whereas it might take you, you know, a full minute to get through all three of these Pokemon sometimes, you didn't even really have to use type advantage for some of them. Like, I was pretty much just using one Pokemon for all of them. Here on my screen right now, and you may have seen it already, is Cliff, and I think I might have just steamrolled over him. So yeah, by now you should have seen that. I was like, oh, he just got destroyed. So let's see here. I am healing up some people at this part on my screen, but you know, the footage I'm showing you will not show that, right? It won't reflect that. So let's actually give it a minute or two, and then I'm going to skip ahead to show some other stuff that I was doing the rest of the day. But basic team of a champ, and then 2 Kyogres. I mean, I don't know if he lit out with Tyranitar. He lit out with Pinsir. And I don't remember if his Pinsir had a fighting move too, but excuse me, neither one of us very effective at all. So I've got Dynamic Punch, and I think it's still going to handle this Pinsir. Just to show you, you know, how they nerfed them. Now, it didn't handle them because I forgot. They're still using their shields just because they're a lot weaker. Does not mean they're not using their shields. But hey, I'm a champ with that Dynamic Punch. Was able to lift 2 of them very quickly. I at least wanted to do that before any of my Pokemon died. So yeah, he's still knocked out from Champ here, but he was taken out very swiftly by Kyogre. And I'm pretty sure he's got a Tyranitar in there. Yep, there it is. And then I had Surf ready for him. I don't know why. It looks, when you're playing and you're swiping, it looks like you're doing so much better of a job because your thumb is likely covering most of this stuff. But then when you're actually watching and you see how many of them you miss, you're like, oh, now I can see why that wasn't excellent. And then lastly, Articuno. So we'll move off from that only because, well, now we need to look at other stuff here. And I think the timing should be okay with it. Maybe it's not, but what I want to show right here, I should paste it. You know, this is the water wheel. If those of you who've never seen Bicentennial, that's what you're, I guess, a quick shot at that. And here's me going back. I think what happened here was I left one side of the park where the water wheel was to meet up with some friends and then come back. And on the way back, I was like, let's just take on Sierra. And she let out with the Beldum and brought the pain. We brought the pain to her, believe you me, we did. And it wouldn't surprise me if Latios, my MVP here, just went ahead and just took out her whole squad. And I don't remember if Jesse and James gave you 4 components versus just 2. So that's actually what I'm looking for. But the very cool thing was they didn't make you didn't have to buy any radars either. So if you were looking for grunts, I mean, you didn't have to go ahead and fight a whole bunch more either. You could, you know, after finishing one section of the research, they gave you a rocket radar. So you don't have to go ahead and fight more grunts. You just did the number of grunts you needed to. You got a radar to take on Cliff. You beat Cliff. Cliff gives you a radar, I think, to do the next person. And then just kept going like that. Now, eventually you do need to get the super radar, but what was cool for me was I think I may have already had one. I just tapped on the balloon and Giovanni was right out there. So that was awesome for me. And Giovanni, for me, he was a pushover. I mean, I was going to save that for later to discuss, but he really was. I know some people struggle with him, but he's always been easier for me than Cliff or Sierra Arlo. It can go either way. But Cliff usually has the Persian himself, but they've switched up who they have. Same with Sierra. I mean, I had a Beldum Sierra here. I've been lucky not to get the double Lapras. Part of me wants that challenge, though, because I would love a Shadow Lapras. And the only way I'm going to get that is by doing it myself. Right? You can't trade these shadow Pokemon. So, that being said, I took on a grunt that had the toughest challenge for me earlier. And I won't show that on here, but maybe another video I'll show them off. I got the Shadow Snorlax, yes. When these grunts first came out with Shadow Pokemon, the Snorlax was the one that gave me the most problem.
No shinies yet.
I didn't understand the type advantages that played into these. I wasn't used to grunts. Well, they didn't block, but a Snorlax is a tank. So even though I used a Machamp against it, and this is not anything related to this video or this content at GoFest, I'm just speaking on it anyway. It wasn't enough. He was still doing that work to my Machamp, and I had to finally say, you know what, let's bring in Tyranitar, and then a Machamp as backup, and then lastly, you know, something that's going to deal with that Gyarados, because the team was Snorlax, Gyarados. It's like, oh, double Snorlax is just as bad as double Lapras, but it took me 4 or 5 tries, and I was like, I know I can do this, you know, but Machamp was not hanging in there, but the job of, you know, its charge move did help when needed, especially when it took out a quarter of the Gyarados before being taken out, and lastly I finished it off with, I think I might have brought in Mewtwo, who, let's be honest, was not super effective or anything. It could have gotten wiped out, but I had enough of a head start on the Gyarados to take it out. And the reward, fortunately, was that Shadow Snorlax, who was easy to catch because even if he moved, the target was still this big old belly. Big old belly! So, back to this here. They did have some weird raids too, like, you know, the Alolan Executor and some of these. But it looks like a whole gang, you know, all the black Pokestops with the R, they were all out there, man. All out there. So I don't know what I'm doing here. Other than waiting, looking around, you had Timber. And Timber's an interesting one too, because let me tell you about Timber, which you probably already know. Timber has been in some of these 1-star raids, and usually they're great IVs. Okay, right? Usually raid Pokemon are going to be 2-star and up. And the lower stars, generally, they tend to make them at least 3 stars for you. And every now and then I've gotten the Shanks that's been 2 stars, but the majority of the time, at least 3 stars. Awesome, right? Nobody wants to use a raid pass and feel like you wasted it on a 1-star just to get a 2-star or lower Pokemon. Though I've never seen a 1-star Pokemon from a raid, but I digress. Timber is a 1-star raid, or I think he's 1-star or 2-star. Either way, like Shanks, is showing up in 10k eggs. No. Why? Well, you're going to have to do a lot of them because the reroll is a factor. You either get 200 candies to get it from Girder, its second form, to its final form, which I can't pronounce at this time, or you trade them. And it's got to be a really good friend who also has a really good one that makes that trade worthwhile. Me and myself, I had like a 96 or a 98 Timber. Holding on to it. Say it's a paperweight. I got the original one I needed to evolve for Dex entry, but that's what it was going to be. So, you know, I got people here trying to get me to do this Palkia raid and what have you because they don't have any of them. And it's just like, it just aids to the whole feeling that I have right now, which is, yo, I don't mind sending invites to people, but you can't hit me up right before the raid when you, if I try to give start times every time now. Start times are critical because you never know who's coming to a raid, who can come to a raid but they see the chat and they're like, oh, I'm doing something else. Maybe I can make it if they don't do it, but they're not pressed to do the raid. You don't put a start time and you just do it, and then they try to check the chat. They would have come to help you. You didn't get it done, or you could have saved some Pokemon had you just said, we're going to start at 10:10 a.m. We're going to start at 10:30 a.m. That gives people time, especially people who want to do it and they know they can't make it at that time. They can speak up and say, excuse me, can we flex that a little bit? How about 10:35? Give me 5 more minutes. I'm getting off the highway. There's traffic, blah, 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 blah. That's the way you guys got to do it. So if you're watching my videos, I know some of you look for other people to coordinate the raids. You can be the leader and do that too. Just go for the shortest hatch time on some of these. If there's multiple eggs, whatever one hatches first, start with that one. That gives more time to do the other ones. Don't do the one that's newest first, and then you're scrambling for time to do the old ones. Do the old one first and do them in that order. And then use start times when you can. I know some people don't show interest, so you just like lobby. But try especially when there's multiple ones, to use start times. Why am I talking about any of that? Because of what I just said a few seconds ago, which is you got people knowing that, hey, we said we were doing it at Hatch. You want an invite. Don't give me a, 12-digit, 15, 16-digit code or whatever it is, thinking I'm going to enter that in to add you as a friend, hoping that you accept the invite to be friends, and then also expect me to invite you right before. You can't do that. You can't do that and expect that to work. That's too much on people. You need to initiate that you want to be friends with people before that happens, not last minute. And for those of you who maybe you saw this late, that announcement I made, you got to get people on board. I'm going to have to start just kind of tuning out some of those requests. And it's not to be mean, it's just understand, I've said it here, I've said it numerous times. If you're going to be that guy or gal the last minute when we're about to start the raid, when you know, hey, it's 10:09, don't say invite me, here's my friend code. It takes precious seconds off the clock to just invite 5 people to see that they're online. You feel me? So, yeah, just we all gotta work together to make sure everybody can get into those, because you do have some people who say, hey, I'm down for it. I've got their code and information. They're one of my 5 who I can invite, but for whatever reason, they don't see it. They get it too late. They forget about it. They don't get in the raid, then you're 3-manning a Rayquaza, which is possible. I've seen some people 2-man it. Do I prefer to do a 3-man? No. I would love to do it to where there's like 20 people in the lobby, right? However, I'm not backing out, even if it's just 3. I don't want anybody losing passes. That's a thing. It can happen. So some of this I've said last video. So, where does the game go from here? We talked about that next week. It's going to switch, and in the 3rd week there's going to be some really good Pokemon, some really good opportunities, and I'm amazed that all of this is in August. Really, all of 3 weeks of August is jam packed. Yeah, Magikarp might not be the thing for you community day wise, but how awesome is it that it's that quick? Let's move on to another clip here from GoFest. I think they announced it a couple days after GoFest, like, hey, it's Magikarp, and it's in 2 weeks, not a whole month, 2 weeks. So here I got this Heatmore, not shiny though, but he was cute without the E cut from the team. But yeah, I wanted some more diverse Pokemon. And before I talk about more of where they go from here, because like I said, August is action-packed, and I want to speculate a little bit about September. But before I do that, let me give what I think they could have done better, because that's really what you might have been watching this for. I feel like this. Everybody around the world at the same time, they weren't prepared for that. And there's no way they could have been, right? Because they haven't done anything like this before. Maybe they've tested it out in Ingress and had some big event, and they thought it worked there. Who knows? But when Australia had the issues they had, it was already the writing on the wall for what it was going to be like in the Americas. I think they could have done it by time zone, and that would have been a better experience. Because, maybe they didn't want to give everybody shinies because they didn't want to dilute the pool of shinies all around the world. Fair point. But maybe they also didn't have their, servers set up the way they needed to do something like that. Like maybe lots of people around the world did get shinies, but it was like 1 in 6 people got 20 plus shinies and everybody else got like 4. And if it would have been time zone based, more of those shinies could have went to people in that region than, but you're like, well, some of those time zones would overlap anyway. Fair enough, but and they did say 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. your local time, but that's a lot of overlap where there's a lot of countries at the same time. Understand that just in the U.S. alone, it has 3 different time zones, I believe. By the time it was 1 p.m. Where I'm at, that meant it was 11 a.m. or, I'm sorry, 10 a.m. It basically was the time for the California region to also be playing. So, massive amounts of people who live in the same country all sending gifts to each other and trying to open gifts. It was bad news. So that was just an observation. Maybe they could have done something like that to say, hey, the friend thing is going to be different per region, and not everybody doing the friend thing at the same time. Some people would complain, well, I can only send gifts or open gifts from friends in this region. For it to count, hey, it's better than not being able to do any of that, right? That's my take on it anyway. What else could they have done better, man? Again, diversity of Pokemon was not great. I felt like without an incense, you weren't seeing anything. Now, I think this was better than the experience, the makeup day they gave me last year. It definitely was. I did go down Greensboro for that. So I'm interested to see how it's going to be this go around because it's everyone in the world getting that makeup day. August is jam-packed. August will be jam-packed, right? These 3 different events. Community Day, the Makeup Day, and who knows what else will be that last week, right? Who knows what else will be there. I'm very curious now what that last week will be. But whatever week that'll be, it should bring you into September. So that tells you this. September, October, November, December. 4 months left. We already know that in December, well, let's start with this finger. December is going to be all the other Community Day Pokemon coming back. And you'll be able to deal with their moves. So during GoFest, they gave you the opportunity to get rid of frustration as a move. You could TM that and get that to go away. Some people like frustration. Some of us are frustrated with frustration. So we TM'd it. But you can only do it during that time, and you cannot relearn that move. Maybe you can relearn frustration when they give you an opportunity to get rid of other moves. I don't know. I don't know if I would want to do that either, but maybe it's an option. That being said, we know that's what's going to be happening September. There could be another generation of Pokemon coming out in October. Maybe late September. We do know another generation should be coming because the poster that they showed you for GoFest has next generation Pokemon. Now, the Buffalo Pokemon, Buffalent or something, is going to be in New York. Because I guess Buffalo, New York. Hats off, guys. But it's only going to be there. And many of us can't go there because of the pandemic. So maybe you got friends there who can get one for you. Shout out to any of my friends in New York who play Pokemon Go or are going to be in Buffalo at that time. Hook your boy up, please. But there's going to be another sprinkling of new Pokemon that they, show off. So cool. But December is definitely going to be Christmas themed. Expect Delibird and the Stantler with the bell and all that stuff to come back, and maybe the Pikachu with the Santa hat. Oh God! But all that will be coming back. But who knows what extra mile they go to during Christmas time. Back up to, we'll skip November, and or should we skip November? Yeah, we'll skip November and we'll go to October. Halloween themed stuff, right? You already know it's going to be spooky Pokemon, ghost Pokemon. I'm not sure how they handled that, but expect Spiritomb to come back. Expect Shiny Ghastly. Hopefully you can Mega Evolve them by then, but there's only so many more Community Day Pokemon they can give you, which is why they're letting people vote, because they wanted to go away from the starter 10K kind of formula, whatever the order was. You guys know what I'm talking about. They had like a rhythm for a while of which they were picking the community days, but now they're picking one and letting you pick the follow-up, or the runner-up is the next one, which is cool. So you kind of know what the two community days are going to be if you just say, hey, we want this one most, and the second most one is who they'll honor the next go-round. So hopefully people start picking newer ones and don't continue to pick the same ones. Right? They threw Magikarp at us. Nobody was voting for it. But some of us thought, hey, it could be Porygon. Or it could be some of these others. I wouldn't be opposed to Porygon. It would help me get me more candy for more Porygon Z. But, it's what it is. It's what it is. So hopefully you guys get your Magikarps. Hopefully you save up your candy. Hopefully this is all for the first Mega Evolution being Magikarp. Because see, are they going to do the Mega Evolutions where it's just one Pokemon at a time? Or is it the stones are there and you can Mega Evolve whichever Pokemon is applicable at that time? Hopefully it's the latter, but, if it's not, enjoy those Mega Gyarados. So, Aquatail, not really thrilled about. You'll hear me say that again next week in this weekend's video, but hopefully it does something. Hopefully it's okay. But November, maybe another regional. And all this it's wrestling for me. I'm predicting based off of how they did last year. You see enough wrestling pay-per-views, WrestleManias. You know how they set it up. You kind of can guess how it's going to be. Doesn't mean it's always going to be 100% right, but those are my thoughts. I wish that for $15 they would have handled the regionaling better for this Go Fest. I wish they would have done a little more story for Victini. I wish day one would have had more. The 20 Pokemon thing was not all that interesting. And, day two, while that was fun, they maybe could have added some more depth to that. It was cool to get Victini and everything, but they could have added some more. Having it all about Team Go Rocket, it was fun, but not enough to... Like, you want it to say, hey, maybe it doesn't take a full 8 hours, but it shouldn't take 2 hours. Like, make it last 4 hours. Make it last, like, the actual Go Fest time frame would. So maybe looking back on it, you could have done part 1 and day 2 together and done that in 4 hours. I think that's likely because they repeated the water. So if they would have said, hey, hour 1 is water, hour 2 is grass, and 3 is fire, and then hour 4 is going to be the rocket stuff, where the rocket stuff is happening the whole time at the same time as the water stuff. I imagine that's what they would have done at the park, and you would have got your money's worth. all that together, I can see all of that being exciting. I can see all of that being exciting. And maybe they thought if they just did it the same way and spaced it out 2 different days that it would be equally fun, but no. It was one thing to just already not be at the park with all the other people who would be in Chicago, which took you out of your element, but it's another to the rhythm, the pacing not being there. So maybe they could take this small criticism and adjust that next year, because I don't see them going back to Chicago only. Now, maybe in the future, they do reclaim it and say, hey, you know, it is Chicago only for Go Fest, but we do worldwide, you know, events for other little things. But, you know, I look at the stat that said, hey, not since the very first Go Fest did they make as much money until this one, and this one was worldwide. It's a no-brainer to me to continue doing it worldwide, just to improve, you know. So, I don't know, did I cover everything? I think so. I covered the changes that I think they could do. I speculated on what they do going forward. I talked about the current week's Pokemon. I talked about the community day. And then I rambled a little bit more about last week's, or the last video on what I could have done there. See, yeah, there was 2 different versions of the video. I accidentally uploaded one that was just a raw video, and then I realized it last minute and just put the edited one that had all the other content that should have been included in it. So, my mistake, my apologies, but enough of you still looked at both of them. So, please continue to do so. I don't intentionally mean for these videos to be super long, but the longer time goes on, more stuff keeps happening. So, I figured Go Fest was like, what, a week or 2 ago anyway. I shouldn't even say a week or 2 ago. It's definitely 2 weeks ago anyway. So to play catch up, I needed to say all this stuff anyway, because what we're anticipating now is the next week to start. And I don't think it starts Friday like my mind is telling me. I think it might start Tuesday like my gut is telling me, but hey, whenever it is, hopefully this is up today and you get it, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about it. This is still an ongoing battle that I'm in. I thought it would be over with by now, but it's not. So I don't know, maybe I'll cut that, but I do see Giovanni here. I do see Giovanni here, so maybe rather than cut it right here, I'll show the rest of this fight. It looks like it's Giratina, so apologies if you've already saw this much, but I at least want to include that to where I spoke enough and you still got to see that part of the video. So let's talk a little bit about him before I close the video for today. Did he start off with the Persian? I need to look and see. I need to wait and see. So he knocked Giratina out here. So just give it a second and I'm going to see. I don't know if he let off with Persian. Typically that's his go-to. You know, the anime, that was his Pokemon. So in the games it was as well. If you enjoyed Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, it was cool seeing him. His model looks very similar to that, to me anyway. Maybe it's not, and I have to replay that, but it looks very similar to me. But I can't remember who he actually had, but his last Pokemon was the Shadow Mewtwo, who looks really cool. Some of y'all got really good Shadow Mewtwo's, and you purified them. Hey, do what you want. But it's not like you're going to get another Shadow one. You can always get another Mewtwo. You can always have somebody trade you a Mewtwo. But it's not guaranteed you're going to get another Shadow one. I don't know how you would get one right now anyway, because you can't trade Shadow Pokemon like I said earlier in the vid. But get rid of frustration, sure. But doing that... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I would do that. But he looked cool. He was definitely cooler than the Armored Mewtwo. Armored Mewtwo had a lot of hype around it. But it's weaker than the standard Mewtwo. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. It looks like this clip either continues or it ends. But I believe I had to fight Arlo. And it would be weird for me if I was able to go against Giovanni first before Arlo. Because I don't know if that's my super radar I have equipped or what. But it would not surprise me. Oh no, so I do not have it equipped. But beating Arlo would give me one. So here I should be going towards Arlo. Content's moving slow. It looks like there's a lot of lag on here too. They had some really cool Pokemon out here. Some Aerodactyl, some, there's a Blastoise out here. You know what would be really cool is if the Pokemon in the raid, they could just show it to you as shiny. I think that would be cool. Well, the bottom just fell out as I'm recording, so maybe that's like hey, that's a good sign, that's a good suggestion, or no, it's a bad suggestion, but I think that would be cool. So the video ended there. Let's go to the next one. Here it is. So eventually I did take on Arlo, and Giovanni was in one of these balloons, so I didn't show the Arlo clip, but I'm going to show Giovanni here, hopefully. And I stuck with Machamp and a couple others. So he did lead out with Persian still. And boy, I knocked Persian out and didn't get any of his shields off. So then his next Pokemon is Sandslash. That's who he had. And I had a water Pokemon in for that reason. But he blocks Dynamic Punch, as expected. But Sandslash is still getting that work in. Those Fists of Fury here. I mean, here's the second shield which needed to come off. And down goes Frazier. Alright, and then who we're all here to see is the Shadow Mewtwo. Now, I don't remember what move he had either. It said that the Dynamic Punch was not very effective, but it took a good chunk of his health down. Now, I almost did it with one Pokemon here, and Kyogre just comes in with a headbutt to knock it out. But, yeah, Giovanni went down very easily. Very easily. So maybe a Melmetal would have worked for a double Lapras. But it still could have been a struggle. So I was like, what? Persian? I don't want Persian. Give me that Shadow Mewtwo. But no, you get whatever was first there. For this one. Usually it's the last Pokemon that he has that you get. This go around, no. So I was a little taken aback there. I was like, oh, I'm not interested in your Persian, but thanks. Does everybody not get a Shadow Mewtwo? But then I click on the research. At least at some point I click on the research. Nope, I went for Sableye. And I went for Tangela. Oh, you get to the research, dude? So here it is. I claim it here. Here's the Shadow Mewtwo right here with the electricity on him and everything. That looks cool. He doesn't just have the dark aura on him or the red eyes like he needs the Benstein's clear eyes. He's got electricity coming off of him. That's what makes him so cool looking aesthetically. And he's just smacking away all the balls I throw at him. You know, fortunately, it's not premier balls. It's all the great balls. Hopefully 79 of them is enough, right? But I was proud also of not only catching them, but still having over 3 million Stardust. I know some of you got like 10 million by now. Awesome. Some of you are struggling for your first million dust. Keep grinding. Star pieces for me are what lucky eggs used to be. I'm just like, no, it's all about getting that dust, baby. Use that auto catcher. Just keep catching them like that. On the grind for 4 million. I think Brandon Tom's got like 50 million Stardust or something crazy like that. Woo! But he doesn't trade Pokemon unless he's already got them. So that's the end of that. And that'll also be the end of my video here. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this long, let me know what your favorite catch of GoFest was. The best Pokemon that you got, shiny or not. What was the best one you got? Leave that in there in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Captain Sensation!